In a small American town, where everyone knew each other by name, there was a school with a large gymnasium. The wooden floor shined under the lights, old basketball hoops hung from the ceiling, and faded state flags lined the walls. And every single day, one man stood there alone. His name was Alex Miller, a physical education teacher. Alex always arrived earlier than anyone else. He lined up the balls perfectly, checked the stopwatch, and adjusted the nets. He believed in discipline. He believed that movement could change people. But when the bell rang, almost no one came. Students walked past the gym, laughing in the hallway. "PE with Miller? No way," they said. "Let's just skip it." They mocked him. They called him names. Some laughed at his old whistle. Others laughed at the way he spoke calmly, never raising his voice. In a school where loud teachers were respected, Alex's quiet strength was seen as weakness. Even the other teachers barely noticed him. In the teacher's lounge, conversation stopped when he entered. The principal spoke only about numbers, poor attendance, no progress, no impact. No one asked why. What no one knew was what Alex did after school. When the building was empty and the lights were low, Alex stayed in the gym. He ran alone. He fell. He got up. He ran again. He trained not for trophies, and not for applause. He trained because he believed that fairness does not always come quickly, but it always finds those who refuse to give up. That evening, as Alex stood alone in the gym once more, the lights suddenly went out for a few seconds. When they turned back on, he didn't know it yet. That was the first sign that everything was about to change. The trouble did not come loudly. It came quietly, the way real injustice often does. One Monday morning, Alex Miller was called to the principal's office. The hallway felt longer than usual. Students passed him without looking. A few whispered. Someone laughed. Inside the office, the principal did not offer a seat. "Alex," he said, folding his hands on the desk, "this isn't personal. It's about results." He talked about numbers. Attendance reports. Complaints from parents who said physical education was a waste of time. He mentioned budget cuts. Restructuring. Optimization. Alex listened without interrupting. He had learned that silence made people uncomfortable, and today, the principal avoided his eyes. "You're a good man," the principal continued, "but this school needs someone stronger. Someone who can control the students." The word stronger hit harder than an insult. By the end of the meeting, it was over. His contract would not be renewed. Alex walked back to the gym for the last time. The door creaked as he opened it. Everything was exactly where he had left it, the balls, the cones, the stopwatch. It felt wrong, like leaving a part of himself behind. A group of students stood near the lockers. "Guess he's finally gone," one of them said loudly. Another laughed. "Told you he wouldn't last." Alex heard every word. But he didn't react. He placed his whistle on the bench. He ran his hand along the wooden floor one last time. Then he turned off the lights and closed the door behind him. That night, Alex sat alone in his small apartment. The city outside was loud, uncaring. He stared at the wall, wondering when effort had stopped meaning something. Then his phone buzzed. Unknown number. The message was short. "I heard you're free. Ever thought about coaching football?" Alex read it twice. For the first time in a long while, he didn't feel empty. He felt curious. The football field was worse than Alex expected. The grass was uneven and dry, the bleachers were half broken, and the scoreboard hadn't worked in years. This was the home field of the Lincoln High Lions, a team everyone in town pretended didn't exist. They had lost every game the previous season. Some by a little. Most by a lot. Alex stood near the sideline, hands in his pockets, watching the players warm up. Or at least, trying to warm up. Half of them were joking around. A few were on their phones. One kid sat on the bench, clearly asleep. The athletic director leaned toward Alex and whispered, "I'll be honest. No one else wanted this job." That part didn't surprise him. What surprised him was the players' faces when he introduced himself. "You," one of them muttered. "Isn't he that PE teacher who got fired?" another said, not even trying to be quiet. Alex heard them. He always did. He blew the whistle once. Just once. "Line up," he said calmly. No one moved. Alex nodded slowly, as if this was exactly what he expected. He walked to the middle of the field and sat down on the grass. The players stared at him, confused. "I'm not here to yell," Alex said. "I'm not here to scare you. And I'm definitely not here to promise wins." He looked at each of them, one by one. "I'm here to build something. If you don't want that, you can leave now." A few laughed. 2 players actually walked away. Alex didn't stop them. He stood up and pointed to the remaining group. "Practice starts now." That first training session was brutal. Not because Alex pushed them too hard, but because he didn't let them quit. When someone complained, he waited. When someone mocked him, he ignored it. When someone fell, he offered a hand. By the end of practice, the players were exhausted. Silent. Confused. No one had ever coached them like this before. As they left the field, one of the youngest players turned back. "Coach," he asked quietly, "are you coming back tomorrow?" Alex smiled for the first time in weeks. "Yes," he said. "Every day." And high above the field, the broken scoreboard flickered for a moment, as if it had just woken up. The next morning, Alex arrived at the field before sunrise. The cold air smelled of wet grass and something faintly metallic, the smell of old games, old losses. To his surprise, most of the players were already there. Not all, but enough to make a line. They didn't speak at first, they just stood, stretching awkwardly, looking at the empty field. Alex clapped his hands once. "Let's start with something simple. Running drills. No whining." At first, the kids ran slowly, almost lazily, as if testing him. Alex stayed quiet, watching every step, every falter. When a player stumbled, he didn't scold, he simply jogged beside him. "Again," he said. And they ran again. By the end of the hour, something strange had happened. The kids were sweating, exhausted, and yet, smiling. One of the older players, Marcus, shook his head in disbelief. You actually care, don't you?" Alex nodded. "I care about the effort. Not the scoreboard. Not yet." Word of the new coach spread slowly through the town. Some parents were skeptical. Most laughed quietly. But the players? They began to look forward to practice. Some even showed up early, just to run a little more, to get better, to prove to themselves that they could. And then came the first unexpected twist. Alex discovered a player no one had noticed before. His name was Toby. Small, quiet, often ignored, barely able to throw a ball straight. But when Alex worked with him one-on-one, something clicked. Toby learned faster than anyone else, and for the first time, he felt someone believed in him. By the end of the week, Alex realized something he hadn't admitted: this wasn't just about football. It was about taking the team from the very bottom, the overlooked, the mocked, the forgotten, and giving them a chance to rise. The first game of the season came faster than Alex expected. The Lincoln High Lions were scheduled to play against Riverside High, a team that had never lost to anyone in town. The players were nervous. Some whispered to each other. Some stared at the bright stadium lights like they had never seen them before. Alex could feel the tension, but he didn't speak much. He just blew his whistle and led them onto the field. The crowd was loud. Students cheered for Riverside. Some even laughed at the Lions as they lined up. The smell of popcorn and freshly cut grass filled the air. The whistle blew. The game started. Immediately, things went wrong. The Lions fumbled the ball. They missed easy passes. Two players collided and fell in the mud. Riverside scored quickly. The crowd roared with laughter. Alex stayed calm. He didn't yell. He didn't panic. At halftime, the scoreboard read 0-21. Most of the players' faces were red from embarrassment, from cold, from frustration. Alex gathered the team. "Look at me," he said. "I don't care about the score. Do you understand?" They nodded silently, unsure what he meant. "Do you want to quit?" he asked. "No," muttered Marcus, still muddy and frustrated. "Good. Then we do what we came here to do. One play at a time. One step at a time. And we never, ever give up." The second half was different. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the Lions started to move together. Toby made a pass that actually landed in a teammate's hands. Marcus blocked a player he shouldn't have been able to block. They didn't win the game. Not even close. The final score was 0-35. But when the players left the field, something had changed. They were tired. Exhausted. But their heads were high. For the first time, they knew someone believed in them and they had started to believe in themselves. Alex stayed behind. He picked up the balls, the cones, and the wet jackets left on the sidelines. He smiled faintly. This was only the beginning. Winter was coming, and the field had turned hard and cold. Frost covered the grass in the early mornings, and every breath looked like smoke in the icy air. But Alex and the Lions kept showing up. Every single day. Practices were getting harder. Alex introduced new drills, more complicated plays, and the team struggled. Some days, they argued. Some days, a player wanted to quit. But Alex never gave up on anyone. He reminded them that effort mattered more than talent. Then it happened. A small, local scrimmage against Jefferson High, a team similar to theirs, gave them their first real chance. The game started rough. The Lions fumbled, missed passes, and again felt the weight of being the underdogs. But this time, something was different. Toby ran faster than he ever had. Marcus blocked his first big tackle. Even the quietest players, who rarely spoke, started calling out signals and cheering each other on. The final minutes came. The score was tied. The crowd was silent, unsure if the Lions could pull it off. Alex clutched the whistle, pacing the sidelines, calm but focused. Then, with only 30 seconds left, Toby threw a perfect pass to Marcus. Marcus ran, dodging two defenders, and crossed the goal line. Touchdown! The Lions had won. 21-14. The players screamed, hugging each other in disbelief. They had felt victory, not just a score, but the reward for every early morning, every fall, every struggle. Alex watched quietly, a faint smile on his face. The town was buzzing after the Jefferson scrimmage. Newspapers printed small articles about the Lincoln High Lions' unexpected win. Students whispered in the hallways. Even the cafeteria felt different, the usual teasing of Alex's old PE reputation had quieted. At school, things started to shift. Coach Miller, a student, called hesitantly as Alex walked down the hallway. "Congrats, on the game." It was awkward, almost shy. But Alex nodded. No lectures. No jokes. Just acknowledgement. Some teachers, however, were not happy. The new respect for Alex irritated those who had once ignored or mocked him. Whispers followed him in the lounge. Some openly criticized the administration for letting him train the team. But Alex didn't react. He had learned long ago that attention, both good and bad, was just noise. His focus was on the players. The players themselves began to change. Confidence grew. Marcus practiced extra hours. Toby started showing leadership, guiding younger teammates. Even the quietest players, once overlooked, now raised their voices during practice. Then came the unexpected twist. The biggest football school in town, Riverside High, challenged the Lions to a rematch. The players were excited but nervous. Riverside was undefeated, strong, and aggressive. Everyone in town assumed it would be another humiliation for Lincoln High. Alex gathered the team. "This is bigger than a game," he said calmly. "This is our chance to prove what we've become. Not to anyone else, but to ourselves. One play at a time." For the first time, the Lions felt something they hadn't felt in years: hope. The week before the Riverside rematch was intense. Frost still coated the field in the mornings, and the air was sharp with winter cold, but Alex and the Lions trained harder than ever. Alex didn't focus on plays or scores alone. He taught them mindset, how to stay calm under pressure, how to read the opponents, and most importantly, how to trust each other. Some players struggled. Toby was nervous, afraid of failing in front of a bigger crowd. Marcus argued with another teammate about a missed pass. One of the youngest players, Danny, considered quitting entirely. Alex didn't scold. He pulled them aside one by one. "You're not here to be perfect. You're here to fight," he said quietly. "Mistakes don't define you, what you do after them does." By midweek, something remarkable happened. The players started thinking for themselves. Toby suggested a new play. Marcus encouraged Danny instead of criticizing him. Even the quiet players began speaking up, sharing strategies and ideas. Then came Alex's final trick, the part the team didn't see coming. On Thursday, he gathered them on the field after sunset. The stadium was empty, dark, and silent. "Tomorrow, you'll face the team everyone says is better than you," he said. "You know what? They probably are. But strength isn't just about talent. It's about heart. It's about refusing to quit. Remember everything we've done. Remember every early morning. Every fall. Every time you helped each other up. That is how we win." He blew the whistle once. The sound echoed across the empty stands, sharp and clear. The players felt it. A spark. Something bigger than themselves. The day of the Riverside rematch arrived, and the stadium was packed. Students, parents, and even teachers who had once ignored Alex were there, whispering, curious. Cameras from the local news flashed. The Lincoln High Lions walked onto the field, cold and nervous, but determined. The first quarter was brutal. Riverside scored quickly. The Lions fumbled, missed passes, and the crowd's laughter made the players tense. Toby's hands shook. Marcus gritted his teeth. Even Alex felt the familiar sting of doubt, but he stayed calm, blowing the whistle and giving quiet, precise instructions. Then came a shift. During the second quarter, Toby made a pass that no one expected. Marcus caught it and dodged two defenders. The younger players blocked perfectly, and Danny, the shyest of them all, sprinted down the sideline to make a key tackle. The Lions scored their first touchdown. The crowd gasped. Whispers spread, they might actually do this. By the third quarter, the Lions were no longer just playing, they were thinking together, moving as a unit, supporting each other. Alex's quiet coaching showed its power. He didn't shout, he guided. He trusted them to make decisions. And they did. With only a minute left on the clock, the Lions were trailing by 3 points. The ball was in Toby's hands. He froze for a split second, remembering every practice, every fall, every word Alex had said. Then he threw a perfect pass to Marcus. Marcus ran, weaving between defenders, and crossed the goal line just as the whistle blew. Touchdown. Victory. Lincoln High Lions 28, Riverside 27. The crowd erupted. Players hugged, shouted, and laughed through tears. They had done the impossible. Alex stood quietly on the sidelines, watching the team celebrate. He had never wanted glory, only justice, for himself, for the players, for the kids no one believed in. And now, finally, it had arrived. After the Riverside victory, Lincoln High was no longer the forgotten school, and Alex Miller was no longer the quietly mocked PE teacher. The town saw him differently now, not just as a coach, but as someone who had fought through unfairness and built something extraordinary. The players, once overlooked and underestimated, walked the halls with pride. Marcus led the team confidently, Toby was fearless on the field, and even Danny, the shyest player, had learned to trust himself. They had transformed, and so had the town. Local newspapers wrote full stories. From mockery to mastery, one headline read. Parents approached Alex with gratitude. Students sought his advice. Even former critics nodded respectfully when they saw him passing in the hall. Alex didn't boast. He didn't need to. He knew the real victory wasn't the trophies, the scores, or the fame. It was the journey, the early mornings in an empty gym, the mockery, the failures, and the persistence that had brought him and the team here. One afternoon, as the Lions practiced on the now pristine field, Alex blew his whistle and smiled quietly. "You've done more than win games," he said. "You've learned to fight, to trust, and to never give up. That's what lasts." The players cheered, but Alex's eyes wandered to the stands. The empty gym he once walked alone seemed far away now. Justice had finally arrived, not as punishment or revenge, but as recognition, growth, and respect. The town that had ignored him, laughed at him, and dismissed him had no choice but to see him for who he truly was. And the Lions, once a team of forgotten kids, had become champions not just on the field, but in life. Little did Alex know, a new challenge was already approaching, one that would test not just the team's skills, but their trust, courage, and unity in ways they hadn't imagined. Winter had passed, and spring brought a new challenge, the state-level tournament. Lincoln High Lions were no longer the invisible team everyone ignored, they were contenders. But with attention came pressure. The tournament schedule was posted on the school bulletin. Teams from across the state, strong and experienced, would face the Lions. Many coaches laughed quietly when they saw the draw. Some parents whispered doubts. The players felt the weight of expectation for the first time. During practice, tension crept in. Marcus argued with Toby over strategy. Danny, the youngest, became quiet, afraid of making mistakes. Even some of the older players questioned their abilities. Alex blew the whistle, cutting through the noise. "Enough," he said. His voice was calm but firm. "You're worried about winning too soon. Forget the score. Forget what anyone thinks. Right now, we focus on us. On how we play together. On how we refuse to give up." Then Alex introduced something unexpected. Instead of the usual drills, he took the team to a nearby park. The ground was uneven, full of obstacles, muddy from recent rain. "If you can move together here, you can move anywhere," he said. "I want you to trust each other completely. Not just in practice, but in life. On the field, and off it." At first, the players complained. The field was messy. They slipped, fell, got dirty. But slowly, they started helping each other. They learned to anticipate moves, cover mistakes, and communicate without shouting. By the end of the week, something extraordinary had happened. The team that had been mocked, overlooked, and underestimated had transformed. They were confident, cohesive, and ready. Alex watched them during the last drill. Pride welled up inside him, not because of victories, but because they had grown stronger together. The tournament was coming. The Lions were no longer underdogs, they were warriors. And the town, which had once doubted them, was about to witness something it had never seen before. The day of the first state tournament game arrived. The Lincoln High Lions entered the stadium with a mixture of nerves and excitement. The stands were packed. Cameras flashed. Everyone was watching now, not just the town, but the whole region. Their opponents were Madison High, a team known for aggressive plays and strong athletes. From the first whistle, Madison dominated. The Lions struggled to keep up. Toby fumbled the ball twice. Marcus was pushed back by bigger players. Danny froze during a critical play. The scoreboard showed 0-14 by the end of the first quarter. The players' shoulders slumped. Some whispered that they couldn't do it. Alex blew his whistle and walked calmly to the middle of the field. "Stop thinking about winning," he said. "Stop thinking about losing. Focus on the next play. Trust each other. You've trained for this. You're ready. The second quarter was better. The Lions began to move as a unit. Toby dodged a tackle and passed to Marcus, who sprinted down the sideline. Danny made a surprising interception. The crowd began cheering for Lincoln High. By halftime, the score was 7-14. Not a win yet, but the Lions were alive. Alex could see it in their eyes, they believed in themselves. In the third quarter, disaster struck. Marcus twisted his ankle and had to leave the field. The team faltered. Madison scored again. Lincoln High was now 7-21. Panic threatened to take over. Alex called a timeout. Kneeling down to the team, he spoke softly but firmly, "Look at me. This isn't the end. We fight, we adapt, we never give up. Marcus is hurt, but he believes in you. Do you believe in yourselves?" The team nodded, determination sparking in every eye. The whistle blew. The fourth quarter began. The Lions played like a single machine, passing, blocking, covering, communicating. They scored another touchdown. Then another. The final seconds were tense. Toby had the ball. He looked at Marcus on the sidelines, then at the goal line. He threw. Marcus caught it just as the buzzer sounded. Lincoln High Lions 22, Madison High 21. The stadium erupted. The team lifted Toby and Marcus on their shoulders. Tears, mud, sweat, and laughter mixed together. They had done the impossible. The victory over Madison High made Lincoln High the talk of the town. The players walked the halls with newfound pride. Marcus led the team confidently, Toby was fearless on the field, and even Danny, the shyest, had learned to trust himself. News articles called them the team no one expected. Local TV interviewed Alex, showing footage of Toby's last-second touchdown. Parents, students, and even strangers stopped him in the streets to congratulate him. The players were proud, but fame brought unexpected tension. Some students who had never respected Alex now whispered jealousy. "Why does he get all the attention?" one teacher muttered. Another rival coach sneered, questioning his methods. Even a few Lions started arguing over play choices, each wanting to shine. Alex noticed it quietly. He didn't react with anger. Instead, he gathered the team before practice. "Listen," he said calmly. "Fame isn't proof of skill. It's proof of your effort. Pride comes from knowing you gave everything, not from what others think. If we let jealousy or ego take over, we lose, not the game, but each other." The players nodded, slowly understanding. Toby clapped Marcus on the back. Danny lifted his head higher. Even the quietest players began speaking up, sharing ideas and supporting each other. Then came an unexpected challenge. A new rival team, Harrison High, was undefeated in the state. They were bigger, faster, and ruthless. Many students whispered that the Lions didn't stand a chance. The day of the Harrison High game arrived, and the stadium was packed. This wasn't just any game, it felt like the whole state was watching. Lincoln High Lions walked onto the field, their uniforms muddy from earlier practice, faces tense but determined. Harrison High was everything the rumors said: fast, strong, aggressive. From the first whistle, they dominated. The Lions were pushed back, forced into mistakes. Toby dropped the ball once. Marcus was tackled hard. Danny hesitated, unsure where to run. By halftime, the scoreboard read 0-28. The crowd murmured. Many assumed the Lions would crumble. Alex gathered the team. His voice was calm, steady. "Forget the score. Forget fear. Remember why you play. Not for them. Not for me. For yourselves. Trust each other. One play at a time. That's all you need." For the first time, the team felt something stronger than excitement or nervousness. They felt purpose. The second half began. Slowly, the Lions transformed. Every player anticipated the next move, covered a teammate, communicated without shouting. Toby dodged defenders, passing perfectly. Marcus ran harder than ever. Danny made a crucial block. Then came the final minutes. The Lions were behind 21-28, the ball in Toby's hands with only seconds left. Alex called the last play, a risky, unexpected maneuver they had practiced in secret all week. Toby threw a long pass to Marcus. The ball soared through the air. Marcus leapt, catching it just past the defenders, and crossed the goal line. Touchdown. Tie. Extra point to win.